The 1970s gave us 10 soul albums that didn't just reach the top of the charts. They changed what music was allowed to be. These records broke rules that nobody knew were rules. They said things that hadn't been said before. And the best part? Most of them almost never got made, starting with number 10. Number 10, Bill Withers, Still Bill, 1972. Here's something you probably don't know about the man who wrote Lean on Me. When Bill Withers walked into the record plant in Los Angeles in 1972, he wasn't a full-time musician. He was a 34-year-old assembly line worker who'd spent 9 years in the Navy and then built airplane toilets at a factory in Burbank. You'll understand, we all need somebody. And he made Still Bill, one of the most soulfully honest albums of the entire decade, in 8 hours for $7,500. 8 hours. $7,500. You know what that album contained? Lean on Me. Number 1 on the pop charts. Number 1 on the R&B charts. Use Me. Number 2 pop, number 2 R&B. 2 of the most played songs of 1972 on an album that took less than a single workday to record. But here's what gets me about Bill Withers. The music doesn't sound rushed. It sounds like something that's been living inside someone for a very long time and finally found the door. Lean on Me came out of a childhood in Slab Fork, West Virginia, a coal mining town where neighbors actually showed up for each other. He said it himself. That's probably why somebody from New York or London didn't write that song. It's a rural song that crosses every line. And if you've ever been the person somebody leaned on, if you've been that shoulder, if you've carried someone else's weight when your own felt heavy, you know exactly what that song is giving back to you. Still Bill also has He and What Is He to You, a quiet, devastating song about suspicion and heartbreak that doesn't announce itself but lands like a fist. The whole album sounds like sitting in your kitchen with someone who tells you the truth without making it about themselves. Bill Withers never lost his factory worker practicality. He retired from music in 1985. No comeback tours, no comeback albums. He said what he had to say, and then he went home. Number 9, Parliament, Mothership Connection, 1975. I want everybody to stomp your feet up in the balcony. Here is a question I want you to sit with for a second.
I want to hear y'all singing.
What does it look like when a black man says to America, "We are not just of this earth"? That's what George Clinton was doing with Mothership Connection in 1975, and it was the boldest move in soul music that year. Clinton was a barber turned visionary from Plainfield, New Jersey. He'd been building P-Funk for years, a collective so vast and so loud that it ran 2 bands simultaneously. Together, Parliament was the cosmic chart-hungry side, and Mothership Connection was Parliament at its absolute peak. The concept was pure Afrofuturism before that word was widely used. Clinton said it clearly. I figured another place you wouldn't think black people would be was in outer space, so he put them there. A full mythology, characters, a whole universe.
Everybody swing down. Hey, y'all can do better.
Star Child battling Sir No's Voidafunk, and an actual spaceship descending to the stage during live shows. But here's what most people don't know.
Yeah! Me right.
For the album cover, they needed a spaceship. So the manager walked into a Los Angeles prop house and rented the original ship from the 1951 sci-fi film The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Do y'all wanna fly?
That photo on the cover, a Hollywood prop. And I love this part, Clinton commissioned his own real Mothership stage prop, built it, used it for years on the road.
I want you to swing down.
That actual stage prop is now in the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. Your History Museum houses a spaceship because Parliament built a mythology deep enough to deserve one.
There will be no second coming.
The album went gold, then platinum. Give up the funk. Tear the Roof Off the Sucker became an anthem at any function where people intended to move.
I said swing down, say chariot down.
Bootsy Collins and Bernie Worrell wrote music that was absurdly ahead of its time. And if you've ever been in a room where this album came on and watched what happened to the floor, you already know what I'm talking about.
Come on, then move your body. Yeah.
Number 8, the Isley Brothers, 3+3, 1973. In 1964, a family band from Cincinnati, a modest hit called Who's That Lady? No! Nice song. Motown adjacent, smooth. You'd have filed it and moved on. By 1973, they came back to that song, and what they did to it should not have been legal. The Isley Brothers, 3+3, released August 1973. And That Lady that opens this album, the same title, completely reworked, is a different animal. Ernie Isley plays guitar on it like something is on fire. Here's the thing about Ernie, and here's where the story gets interesting. Back in 1964, when the Isleys first recorded Who's That Lady, they had a guitarist in their touring band, a young kid from Seattle still figuring himself out. His name was Jimi Hendrix. He played guitar for the Isley Brothers before he played guitar for the world. And when Ernie Isley stepped into that role in 1973, you can hear the inheritance. That screaming, bending, liquid guitar on That Lady carries something of Hendrix in its DNA, passed down through the same family that first gave Jimmy a stage. The album's name explained itself simply. 3 original brothers, Ronald, Rudolph, and O'Kelly, plus 3 newer additions, younger brothers Ernie and Marvin, and cousin Chris Jasper. 6 people. One of the tightest bands of the decade. They also took Seals and Crofts' quiet folk song Summer Breeze and turned it into a slow-burning funk epic that runs past 6 minutes. If you've heard it, you know that transformation should not work as well as it does, but it does. Lets me know everything's alright. 3+3 was the Isley Brothers' first platinum album. Rolling Stone ranked it on their 500 greatest albums of all time list. And the decade that followed, The Heat Is On, Harvest for the World, Go For Your Guns, all of it started here with this album when a family expanded and found a new sound together. Some of y'all heard That Lady for the first time at a very specific place. You know the one. Number 7, Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's The Way of the World, 1975. There was a movie nobody remembers, released in 1975. It flopped at the box office. Critics didn't love it. The studio moved on. The soundtrack? The soundtrack went to number 1. That's The Way of the World. Earth, Wind, and Fire, March 1975, was technically a film soundtrack. Maurice White and the band put it out before the movie even opened. And when the lead single dropped, Shining Star, Horn Driven, and Possibly Tight, it went straight to number 1 on both the R&B and pop chart. Grammy Best R&B Performance by a Group. The album itself hit number 1 on both the soul and pop album charts. Now, I want to tell you about Reasons. Philip Bailey's falsetto, slow, romantic, the kind of song that gets played at weddings because it sounds like it was written for two people deeply in love. It was written about a one-night stand. Longing to love you just for a night. That's the lyric. The band was reportedly surprised for years that people kept choosing it as a wedding song. And yet, there it is. Still playing in reception halls somewhere right now. Brides and grooms swaying to a song about something else entirely. In your heart and soul, don't hesitate. This album came out of Caribou Ranch in Colorado, high in the mountains, in the autumn of 1974. Maurice White working alongside arranger Charles Stepney, the unsung architect of EWF sound, who died the following year at just 45 years old. Stepney never got the credit he deserved, but you can hear his fingerprints on every arrangement. Earth, Wind, and Fire were already good before this record, but That's the Way of the World is where they became untouchable. They didn't set out to make a classic. They were scoring a movie nobody was watching, and somehow that's when the ceiling disappeared. Number 6, Sly and the Family Stone, There's a Riot Going On, 1971. You know the version of Sly Stone from the late 1960s. Optimistic, joyful, Woodstock, everyday people. I Want to Take You Higher, a band that looked like the future of America, black and white and mixed and loud and free. And then something happened. There's a Riot Going On, November 1971, the same year as Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. 2 albums asking the same question about the state of America. But where Marvin's album reached for grace, Sly Stone's reached for something darker. Nobody wants to blow. Something more honest about what he was actually experiencing. By 1971, Sly Stone was in the grip of a cocaine addiction so severe that he recorded most of his vocals from bed. You see it in the blood. He had a home studio set up at his house in Bel Air and barely left. The music on this album reflects all of it. Murky, sedated, the spaces between notes as important as the notes themselves. There are songs on this record that barely feels like songs, more like transmissions from someone who is running out of signal. And here's what makes it remarkable, and this still stops me. The album went to number 1 on both the R&B chart and the pop chart. Family Affair was also number 1. The music industry had no category for what this was. It was one of the first soul and funk albums to use a drum machine prominently. That muddy mechanical pulse you hear throughout. Hip-hop producers decades later heard it and recognized it immediately. Ain't nobody wanna be left out. There is a direct line from this record to what producers were doing in the late 80s and 90s. Sly Stone made an album about falling apart. And in falling apart, he accidentally created a new language. Whether that was a triumph or a tragedy, I'll let you decide. Some people say this is the most influential album on this entire list. Others say it's the most painful one to sit with. Both things might be true. Nobody Number 5, Curtis Mayfield, Superfly, 1972.
Superfly, you're gonna make your fortune by and by.
In 1972, a filmmaker asked Curtis Mayfield to score a movie about a cocaine dealer. And Mayfield had a problem with it, not with doing the project, with the movie's attitude toward what it was showing.
That he can take, gambling with the odds of fate.
The film Superfly treated drug culture with something close to glamour, cool cars, sharp clothes, a certain romanticism. And Mayfield, who grew up on the south side of Chicago watching what that world actually did to people, wrote a soundtrack that said the opposite.
Superfly, trying to get off.
Freddie's Dead, number 2 R&B, number 4 pop, a song about what happens when the streets consume somebody, not a tragedy sung from the outside. An indictment written from inside the community by someone who loved it.
His mind was his own, but the man lived alone. Oh, super.
Pusherman, Little Child Running Wild. Song after song quietly contradicting the film it was scoring. When the movie opened in New York that August, the theater ran out of tickets. People broke a side door open. The crowd spilled in. And when the numbers came in, something unusual had happened. The soundtrack album had outsold the film it was attached to, one of the few soundtracks in history to outgross the movie it came from. The album went to number 1 on the R&B chart for 6 weeks, number 1 on the pop album chart for 4 weeks. Here's something Mayfield admitted at the time.
Oh, Superfly.
He'd been worried. He was afraid Marvin Gaye had already covered all the ground for socially conscious soul music with What's Going On the year before. But Mayfield found a different angle, not panoramic, not asking questions from 30,000 feet up, but right down in it, nose to nose with the street. Curtis Mayfield wrote, produced, and performed every single song on this record. Everyone. That's not common. That's an artist with something to say who won't let anyone dilute the message. Chuck D, a public enemy, said Mayfield's words meant everything to early hip-hop. That's not hyperbole. Entire careers trace back to this album.
Superfly.
Number 4, Donny Hathaway, Live 1972. Let me tell you something about Donny Hathaway that I think about more than almost anything else in this story. He might have had the greatest pure voice in soul music of the 1970s. Not the most famous, not the most commercially successful, the greatest. The kind of voice that makes people stop what they're doing, and the truest documentation of that voice, the place where you hear everything he was capable of, is a live album. Live, Donny Hathaway, released February 1972. Recorded at 2 venues, the Troubadour in Hollywood and the Bitter End in New York City, both in the autumn of 1971. The album peaked at number 4 on the soul charts. Rolling Stone later ranked it number 48 on their list of the 50 greatest live albums of all time. Not greatest soul albums, greatest live albums, every genre, every era. The track The Ghetto runs 12 minutes. 12. And you don't feel a single second of it, because Hathaway is pulling you through every moment in the band, with bassist Willie Weeks and drummer Fred White is locked in so tight it sounds like one organism breathing. He covered Marvin Gaye's What's Going On this album. He covered John Lennon's Jealous Guy. He covered Carole King's You've Got a Friend. And all 3 feel like they were written for his voice specifically. Here's the part that's hard to say. Donny Hathaway died in January 1979. He was 33 years old. He fell from a window of the Essex House Hotel in New York City. He had been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and had been in severe psychological pain for years. And if you've ever lost someone to a mind that turned against them, someone who had so much light to give the world and so much darkness they couldn't find their way out of, you know there's no clean way to hold that story. You just hold it. What he gave us in that short time is irreplaceable. This album is proof. Number 3, Al Green, Let's Stay Together, 1972. Here is a fact about one of the greatest soul albums ever made that I still can't get over. Al Green didn't want to make it. Producer Willie Mitchell came to Green with a rough musical sketch, a groove Mitchell had developed with drummer Al Jackson Jr. down at Royal Recording Studio in Memphis. Where the times are good or bad. He handed it to Green and said, "Write something." Green wrote the lyrics in 5 minutes. Then he looked at what he'd written and told Mitchell he didn't want to record it. They argued for 2 days. Finally, Green agreed to go in and try. And here's where it gets interesting.
You know that, huh? Whatever you want to do.
He did about 100 takes. 100. Because even when he was in the room doing it, he wasn't sure the song was any good.
Why people break up?
What Willie Mitchell did to solve the problem was one of the strangest and most inspired things in the history of recording. He needed Green to feel like he was performing for a crowd. So he walked into the neighborhood around the studio, found a group of local men, and brought them in with wine. They sat in the studio, drinking. Some of them stretched out on the floor, just being present, while Al Green worked through take after take.
So brand new.
Mitchell talked about it later with obvious fondness. All the Winos, they're drinking wine, laying on the floor while we cut the record. Whatever it was, the audience, the room, the day, Green finally got it. One take that felt right, and that take became the only #1 pop hit of his career. 9 straight weeks at the top of the R&B chart. Library of Congress National Recording Registry, one of Rolling Stone's 500 greatest songs of all time. And Let's Stay Together was the first of 6 consecutive Al Green albums produced by Willie Mitchell that went to #1 on the Soul album chart. 6 in a row. An album neither of them believed in, built in one of the oldest studios in Memphis, with an audience of men who were just there for the wine. Number 2, Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life, 1976. In 1975, Stevie Wonder was seriously considering quitting music. He wanted to move to Ghana to work with children with disabilities. He had made 4 critically acclaimed albums back to back: Music of My Mind, Talking Book, Inner Visions, fulfilling this first finale, and he had nothing left to prove to the music industry. And he genuinely wasn't sure the music industry deserved what he had to give. Something made him stay, and what he made instead was Songs in the Key of Life. Released September 28th, 1976, a triple album. 21 songs, all written, produced, and arranged by Stevie Wonder, every single one, at 26 years old. The package debuted at #1 on the pop charts and stayed there for 14 straight weeks, longer than any other Motown album before or since. I Wish went to number 1. Sir Duke, a tribute to Duke Ellington, went to number 1, Grammy Album of the Year. But here's the song I want you to think about. Isn't She Lovely? One of the most recognized songs in American music. It was never released as a U.S. single because it was over 6 minutes long. Radio wouldn't take it. And do you know what the sound is at the very beginning of that track? The one that comes in before anything else? That's the sound of Stevie Wonder's daughter Aisha being born. He was in the delivery room. He recorded it. And he put that moment, her first cry, her first breath in this world, right at the top of the track before a single note of music, so you would feel what he felt before you heard anything else. He wanted you to feel what he felt. Songs in the Key of Life was later named one of the 4 greatest albums of all time by Rolling Stone, but the number almost doesn't matter. This record is one of those rare things where greatness and sincerity arrive in the same room at the same moment. You can hear it. Number 1, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, 1971. In 1971, Marvin Gaye walked into the offices of Motown Records with a new album. He made something he'd never made before, a concept record, orchestrated and layered, personal and political, songs that flowed into each other like chapters of the same long conversation. He produced it himself. He'd shaped it himself. Berry Gordy refused to release it, told Gaye it was the worst record he'd ever heard. Gaye said, "I'll never record for Motown again." Gordy eventually relented. What's Going On was released May 21, 1971. The title track hit number 1 on the R&B chart and number 2 pop. Then Mercy, Mercy Me, The Ecology. Then Inner City Blues, Make Me Wanna Holler. 3 top 10 singles from one album. Marvin Gaye became the first male solo artist to do that from a single record in Motown history. The album entered the Billboard chart at number 187, climbed to number 6, spent 58 weeks on the charts, sold over 2 million copies within 18 months. In 2020, Rolling Stone updated their list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. Number 1, not top 5. Not top 10. Number 1, ahead of every other album ever recorded. Here's what I think about when I put this record on. Marvin Gaye was a 31-year-old man who had spent a decade making gorgeous, safe Motown love songs. Hits, chart hits. His label loved it and wanted more. And one day he looked at what was happening in his country, Vietnam, the riots, poverty, police violence in cities he knew by name, and he said, "I cannot keep singing love songs." The music he made instead didn't just reflect the moment, it transcended it. These songs are not dated, they are not period pieces. You can put What's Going On right now, and it sounds like it was written about this week. And that part still gets me every time. That's what makes a soul album untouchable. Not the chart numbers, not the Grammy. The fact that it tells a truth that doesn't expire.